Hey, all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey there, my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel. I'm your hostess, femininity coach, and author of The Crimson Cure, and I got one for you today. So I'm not going to waste too much time. Let's go with the video.
Every woman, is cheating a deal breaker for you?
No, it really depends. I've been married 16 years. I've been with my husband for 18 years. Now, fortunately for me, that is not something, praise the Lord, that I've had to go through. But I don't necessarily think that it is a deal breaker. It's a lot of different variables that go into it when you're married. My husband, if he was to cheat on me right now today, I have two sons, and one of them is in a very pivotal moment. Both of them. Kingston is 12, and my other son is right in the middle of his basketball, trying to find a college. Kiwan play basketball. You know, all of that. They need their father in this instance, and I don't know what that might do to them mentally to see us be totally and completely apart. You know what I'm saying? So if there's issues, I may have to suck it up at some, and hey, it's not for everyone.
As a married
Now, you know the Syleena triggered the sisterhood all over the place. They did not like her saying that it would not be cut and dry for her. There would have to be a lot of thought that goes into what happens next after infidelity on her, potential hypothetical infidelity on her husband's part. Now, she says she's never had to go through that in her relationship with him. And so, you know, she's speaking purely from a hypothetical standpoint. She's not saying, you know, absolutely what she would do, but just thinking about it, what may be one of her responses. Never did she say it would be cool. Never did she say it would be right. Never did she say it would be no big deal, or that it wouldn't hurt her, or that it would not have repercussions in their relationship. She never said that. What she said was, I don't know if it's a deal breaker. And she said it's a lot of factors that come into play. It's not so cut and dry because our marriage involves more than me and him. It involves children. It involves all the other dynamics. So what she's doing is saying, I have to think about, before I just leave this relationship abruptly, right? Not saying that the whatever issues that surrounds the infidelity can't be dealt with, or wouldn't be dealt with, or she wouldn't try to deal with them. But for me to exit immediate, there are a lot of ramifications. There's a lot of fallout from that. It's not cut and dry. It's not going to be a clean cut. It's not going to be. Other people are affected. I am affected on a personal level as his woman, in a romantic way. His children will be affected in a different way because of the broken home. Sure, he'll still be their father, but now would be the turmoil of divorce and all of these other things that have so many other ramifications. It would not be this clean, oh, here today, gone tomorrow type of thing. So she would have to think about how she would want to approach such a serious situation. And because she said that she would need to be thoughtful about how to respond to such an instance or a hypothetical situation like that would be so serious and that would have so many repercussions behind it, especially not only following his actions, but also following her response. You had these chicks in the comment section going absolutely crazy, See, I can't forgive cheating because I could have cheated as well, but I had enough self-control and respect for you not to cheat. It's a deal breaker for me. Could not emotionally come back from that. Girl, if he didn't cheat after he sees this, he definitely will. The way women are expected to suck it up, she gave excuses why everyone else mattered. Why should you stay to appease kids but never about herself? For me, it's a deal breaker. No man would make these excuses for his cheating. So marriage isn't a sacred covenant anymore. If someone cheats, the covenant is broken. They fail their children and spouse and God when they decided to step out of their marriage. I feel like once you stop doing what you're supposed to do, you get cheated on. Don't stop giving up or being spicy. It's unfair to stop giving your spouse their needs, but want them all to yourself. Just break up if you can't keep up. This so-called choosing a family over being selfish. Most people don't even have the fight in them to do so. If you haven't had to go through it, then you can't speak on it because once they happen, your feelings may change. Call me stupid, but shouldn't their dad have thought of them before doing something that would be detrimental to the kids and his family, or am I bugging? See, even if we wanted to take the stance of, well, shouldn't he have thought about them? Let's say, for instance, he didn't think about them, so nobody thinks about them. So because he didn't do his job or he failed in that department, so you fail. You come behind it and you don't do the best that you can do because he failed in that regard, or he was a letdown, or he, whatever you want to whatever you want to term that, however you want to frame that. You know what I'm saying? So there's a girl, it's called co-parenting. Y'all need to let that go, staying together because of the kids. That's not a great example. Please stop using the kids as an excuse. You'd rather have them in a broken home with both parents and be dysfunctional than have them in a single parent home with peace. I swear this has got to be the dumbest stuff I've ever heard. You are hurting the kids more with the dysfunction. Children can tell when things are off. This person says she talking heavy. Once you have kids, you're no longer completely living for you. But of course, people are going to make this about themselves. They're going to validate sinking the ship. This person said, and these are mostly guys that are saying stuff like this. She's thinking about the bigger picture, when most people don't do these days. Marriage is a commitment to each other, but it is more so a commitment to the situation. And this is part of the problem. The chicks be hearing what they want to hear. They hearing her say that she would not even address it, or when she say suck it up, what they're hearing is she's just going to sit around and be hurt and not bother with addressing her own feelings in regard to a hypothetical situation if it were to come to pass. That's not what Syleena said at all. She just, the only thing that she's saying, and that's what's triggering them, because they only think of themselves. They don't think of, it's not even thinking of both. They don't think of anybody else but themselves. These are the same women that will leave marriages without infidelity being a problem. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you really got to take what they talking about with a grain of salt, because like I said, these are the same women that are leaving marriages because they're bored and unhappy. The man might not be doing anything. So infidelity doesn't have to be a factor for these women to sink the ship of their marriage. They'll sink their relationships based on whatever. Cheating just happens to be, for whatever reason, this super triggering topic, and which I find to be hypocritical and ironic, only because women cheat just as much or more than men do. So it's like they've got this cheating thing as the most sacrilegious thing a man can do in a relationship, but at the same time, they don't think a big deal of it when they do it. And so I just find that to be a completely hypocritical thought process to begin with. The only thing that she's saying is, listen, we can probably work on whatever it is, because it's not always cut and dry. The reasons why the infidelity occurred, and this isn't necessarily saying that it's always the woman's fault while the man stepped out, because as we know, men don't necessarily have to have an emotional connection to the women that they sleep with. So it literally could have been for him just something physical. He doesn't have any emotional attachment to this woman. However, we also have to think of the other side of the game, because sometimes a partner, your spouse's needs are not getting met, and maybe they don't feel like, even when they communicate that to you, that you meet them. So there are various different reasons, because when women cheat, they want people to look at the reason why they cheated, right? And if men cheat, it doesn't matter what the reason is when you talk to women about that. The reasons for cheating only matter when they're the ones that are cheating, and then they want to talk about all of the ways in which their needs had not been met, and they want to talk about all of the ways in which um not only that their needs were not met, but all of the ways in which it was his fault ultimately, that they felt unloved or they felt unwanted, and the other guy made them feel sexy. And this is where this stuff comes from. So when women talk about why they committed infidelity in a marriage, then we've all got to understand the underlying reasons that led up to that that affair. But when men do it, we don't need to be concerned about what led up to this infidelity or this affair that he's having. So I find that to be just ridiculous. If we're gonna be concerned on one side, we got to be concerned on the other side. If we're gonna take a look at, well, what were the underlying factors? What led to you feeling like you needed to have the touch of another man? What led to you feeling like you needed the touch of another woman? You know what I mean? So she's just saying, listen, we might be able to maybe think about or work on what led to this. This might have been a one-time thing. That, you know what I'm saying? And we probably, because you're not completely blind, if your marriage is in trouble or not, or if there's trouble brewing in your relationship. If you're in tune with your relationship, then you understand when there might be a little bit of trouble. Y'all got y'all instincts up. Y'all be talking about female intuition all the time for everything, but you don't know when your husband may be unhappy, or you don't have any intuition about when things aren't quite going as well from his standpoint, from his perspective. Maybe things are not, he's feeling like his needs are not being met by you in some way. Are you making excuses for not meeting his needs, or are you trying to think about and see things from his standpoint and say, you know what, I can at least meet you halfway, on what you're saying. Let me try to understand. Let me try to have empathy on what you're talking about. Put myself in your shoes if I can, and see if I can do better on my end, especially if he thought enough about the situation to talk to you about it and say, listen, this isn't working, and he may not be verbal at first, but when stuff is off. Y'all claim to know when energy is off and all this type of stuff. You only know when your energy's off. You have no clue when his energy is off. So I just found that it was interesting that the hyena sisterhood got triggered by what she said. And then they started reading into, and they started interpreting what she was talking about, which that's not what she said. She didn't say it was okay. She's just saying there's more to think about than this super cut and dry decision to just leave, to just up and leave. Like, other people are affected by these decisions, not only just his decision to cheat, but my reaction, how am I going to react and respond to what's going on? I may need to have to think about that instead of just going off my initial emotional reaction to this. I may need to examine, before I act, what is the consequences going to be, and not only what are the consequences going to be, can I take those consequences? Can I do it? And are the consequences worse than staying in this marriage and working on the marriage to try to make the marriage better, to try to prevent any, infidelities or whatever? Maybe I haven't been meeting my husband's needs, or maybe we haven't been meeting each other's needs, and he got around to the cheating before I could. So now maybe, you know what I mean? You can't tell people how to handle adversity in a relationship. If you've been with somebody almost 2 decades, it's not to say that they can never do anything that would end it. But at the same time, even if you're angry with that person, even if that person hurts you, that doesn't erase 20 years of being with them. It don't erase the history. You don't suddenly not love them. You don't suddenly, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't just suddenly flip a switch and your emotions are not involved. Because y'all will applaud jumping up and trying to physically harm or even delete a man for cheating, talking about your feelings, but you won't applaud when a woman will say, you know what, let me be still for a second and think. I know what my emotions are. I know I feel hurt. I may even feel betrayed. I may feel a lot of things, but at the same time, let me also think before I just start acting on stuff. And y'all don't have no concept of that. Anyways, jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your hostess, The Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.